Yes, blessed people, welcome again. My son Alo. Once.
What they are. Don't know people. No one miss the show. They are. Nick, I think Nick fix him the microphone. You know what I mean? But people, if you're
Yeah,
watching, you don't know, back on
yeah,
it.
we're there. Back on the grind again, late night. Yeah, hear me clear, right?
Clear.
Clear. So people, watching out, you don't know it is a late life, but with so many topics, with so many footballer play, scheduled to play ahead of us. You understand? The Naked and podcast will be getting in action in a bit from now. You understand? And also we're going to kick off the podcast. We're going to spend the next 5 to 10 minutes talking about the FIFA Club World Cup. Yes, the FIFA Club World Cup is up on us. It will be Al Ahly, the boys from Egypt, play the boys from Miami in the pink. Super excited, Daniel, about the FIFA Club World Cup. It's to play tomorrow, and also the Gold Cup will kick off. A historic moment for the Dominican Republic team. The people in Dunrep. Will be looking in on their team playing the L3 tomorrow night. You understand? But we're going to get in it in the FIFA Club World Cup. I'm going to discuss, the World Cup qualifier zone. You could touch on that as well. We have a few guests going to drop in as well. You understand? And I have an expert that know about the Central American teams that's going to drop in as well. And also, we're going to discuss, the Copa Oro, which is the Gold Cup. Yeah, all the groups that we're going to get into it as well. You don't know Mexico will play Dominican Republic tomorrow night. That's a historic moment in Damre. Yes, that nation. Anything that you have to say, Daniel, before we touch on the FIFA Club World Cup.
No, I think, as we've been doing this thing for a while, and this is the first time on a Friday night.
Yeah,
I think we did holiday Monday, we did Saturday, so this is our first time for a Friday night. So the
yeah,
people them were today a Friday night from work, and if you don't work on the day warm and I kick it back at chill, if you're watching this live right now, we're blessed to have you guys with us tonight, to discuss some football, Whopper football
yeah,
are coming up in for the rest of the year,
yeah.
World Cup start tomorrow,
Non
FIFA Club World Cup. Is it me? So
non-stop football.
non-stop.
Non-stop. Yeah, but let's get into it before because as I said, we have limited that time. You don't know, we don't want to keep the people in too late and here as well. You don't know we have a live schedule for tomorrow again, straight until the weekend ends. As we will be looking, to cover the FIFA Club World Cup and everything on this Nick and Dad podcast here. But Daniel, tomorrow, yeah, Group A, will kicks off tomorrow. The gigantic team in Africa, the team that won 45 league titles, 12 continental trophies in Africa, Al Hilal from Egypt will play, Inter Miami, the pink team tomorrow. That group with also, FC Porto, and Palmeiras. Let me just get into it. FC Porto, back to back finish, third place in their league, last out in the Europa spot versus AS Roma in the qualification spot. It's like a rebuilding, for FC Porto. Not the strongest of, FC Porto at this moment. Palmeiras, with the Portuguese coach, able, you say one of the top team in Brazilian football at this moment. The 11th game in their Serie A season, just 2 points behind Flamengo. The Palmeiras fans will be looking for Estavao as he's going to make his name in that tournament. Victor Roku, the former Barcelona player, the former Real Betis player. So those players will be in action, tomorrow, not tomorrow, but over the weekend. Inter Miami, Canavia Mascherano picked up this team off their knees. You understand? Even though, this Inter Miami team is the highest scoring team in MLS this season, the Egyptian Kings, the African Kings, Al Hilal, will go ahead tomorrow. What's your prediction of Group A for the FIFA Club World Cup?
My prediction, my honest prediction, I think my art, my art and love for the game, would I love to see Messi go far in the tournament. You get what I'm saying? Just for the fantasy and see the legend of the game. You get what I'm saying? But my brain, I'm gonna use my brain. My brain gonna tell me Porto with the European players and expectation and just better players. I just think that Porto will tap that group.
Mhm.
I think they will tap that group. I think Porto will, and I think it's gonna be between um Palmeiras and the Egypt team. I know you just call out how many titles this team have won
Yeah.
over the past. I was watching a YouTuber and today I was giving his prediction, and he was talking about this team. He said he watched a lot of African football, and he said that they're one of the top teams in Africa. You get what I'm saying? So I think but just by the Brazilian team, just by the quality they have, I think they're the defending champions, and they've been winning a lot of trophies over here. And just by the what's his name, the Brazilian that
Estaval.
Esteval Willian, Esteval when that Chelsea signed. Just by I love to see him go far, but I'm gonna give Palmeiras the edge. I think they will come second, and then Inter Miami come last in that group. But I just think the quality of the team is just better than Inter Miami overall.
Yeah, so my prediction, I think Inter Miami, if they're lucky, maybe can probably get a point in that game, as I think they don't have enough legs. They don't, the squad depth as much as, when you look at, the Inter Miami team. Yeah, Lionel Messi, scored like what 15 goals already this season in our competition. It's all about what Messi can produce on the pitch. But I just think that Palmeiras, South Americans, they will take this tournament,
Very
very
serious.
serious. You understand? We have seen it, in the past of all South Americans, other nations. This competition before it even was an upgrade tournament. Yeah, they will take it serious. But for me, I think Palmeiras and FC Porto will go through. But if anyone can give Palmeiras and Porto a shot for the money, it will be the Egyptian Kings. Moving forward to Group B, Atletico Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Botafogo, that team that just won the Copa Libertadores, and also the Brasileiro, Seattle, how much they can pick up the ball from the back of their net, as I think they will be lucky to get a point in this Group B. But Daniel, Atletico Madrid, very difficult season. Seeing they got knocked out of the Copa del Rey, by the rival, Barcelona, in the Champions League versus Hala Madrid. Paris Saint-Germain Champions League winners, the quadruple winners. This tournament can make them the fifth trophy of the season. So it's a very, very strong group.
Mhm.
I've said it. This Botafogo team, they lost a player, Luis Enrique, to Zenit St. Petersburg, the Brazilian, but still a very, very good team. Your prediction on this group, because before I move forward, I said Atletico Madrid, kind of got knocked out by two of their bitter rivals in two prestige tournament. But when you look at Alvarez and Charlotte, the Norwegian scored 37 goals combined together in the league, and they're the only team in Europe this season that just ended at 30 goals plus off the bench alone. So difficult moments, but this is a very unusual side for Atletico Madrid team that not so much of a shallow squad depth, but it's very large.
Yeah, I think Botafogo over the years, they produced some quality players, but I just think that the PSG and the Atletico Madrid just too strong for these teams. I think PSG, the Champions League winners, the quality, the depth in that. I think they're gonna be finished on top of the group. I'm Atletico to come in second, and then Botafogo third, and then another
Yeah.
MLS team last in the group. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I just think that the quality,
Yeah. And
squad.
Seattle is not being Seattle for the last couple of seasons in the MLS.
No,
They're not that team,
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I have that prediction as well. But if Atletico Madrid drop points against Botafogo, I will see Botafogo get ahead of them in that group as well. So Group C, with the New Zealand team, Auckland, Bayern Munchen, Benfica, Boca Juniors, the boys from Buenos Aires, La Boca. Auckland, there's like a Seattle, like what in Group B, don't see them picking up any points, see them concede over 10 plus goals in the Group C. Bayern Munchen, the German champions, disappointed in the Champions League in the quarterfinal round, get beaten by Inter Miami. Benfica, having a poor season because of a strong Sporting Lisbon season over the last couple of seasons now. So they got beaten in the Champions League by Barcelona. They got beaten twice by Barcelona, throughout the Champions League campaign. So what's your expectation? With Boca, experience, they just fired their coach, new coach is at the helm at this moment. Boca have been missing, the Copa Libertadores over the last couple of seasons. So, I mean, it's like a transition season. They have a very rich Vienna squad. You talk about a little bit of experience and young quality. Edison Cavani just coming back off injury. You see La Boca beating Benfica or giving Bayern Munchen a chance, especially with that 12-man backing in the Americas region.
No, I think if this was a few years ago, when you remember that team that play River Plate in the final, they have
Yeah.
to bring the final to the Bernabeu. I think if it was that team, I would have gave Boca Junior. I'm a strong Boca Junior fan. Riquelme is my type of player, but I think Benfica, as bad as Benfica is, I still think Benfica with the squad they have was still able to beat Boca Junior in that group, and then after that, I just think Bayern Munich should just be quality wise should top the group. I think Benfica should come in second, and then what's their name?
Auckland.
Oakland should be the last in the group. So I say so I go with Bayern Munich and Benfica to go through. I just think the European teams is going to be too strong for those two teams.
Yeah. Let's talk about the group that your team is in at this moment. Chelsea. The expectation we saw Liam Delap. He took the number 9 shirt. A lot of people would say that's the graveyard number 9 shirt. It's have a lot of weight on it. A lot of disgrace. Have came through that shirt in the past. Your expectation. LAFC. The team from Tunisia. Flamingo just signed Jorginho. They're the leading pack team in Brazil Serie A this season. They're fresh. There are a lot of money spent in this Flamingo team. You expect Chelsea to top this zone in ease, especially getting win against LAFC and the Tunisia team.
Yes, I think Chelsea should have quality-wise should have enough to top this group, and then I think there's a little bit rivalry with Chelsea and Flamengo. I don't know where
Yeah,
that come from, but I
yeah,
think there's a rivalry. I think that game gonna be a very good game, and then the other team, I have no idea about this team. I
yeah,
have no
yeah.
idea,
No, I have no,
but I
but it's the
saw.
it's the big team in
Yeah,
Tunisia though.
but that's what I heard, I'm looking at their last 5 games. They have won 4 out of 5, so
Yeah,
you can tell that this team is in form. You get what I'm
yeah.
saying? So there's
I
nothing.
see this team finish third in this round. I
Yeah,
don't see LAFC getting
yeah,
over
just
this
not
Tunisia team.
enough. Yeah,
Yeah,
I watched LAFC a couple times. I know they have Juru. Do they still have Villa there?
no,
No, he left.
no, they have a few more pieces around, LAFC, but not the LAFC, that team that we have seen, in the
Yeah.
past. You understand?
Yeah, so I
Uh
think Chelsea should be the one that favorite to go through, and then Flamingo, with Flamingo is a quality team. They have some good players, so I think they should able to get come through on second, and then not again. I think the MLS team. I think the MLS. Well, you guys have to just prove both of us wrong, so you can able to do something. But I just think the MLS, it's just the quality of these teams gonna be too much for the MLS teams.
Yeah. Moving on to from group, we are just finished Group D, so Group E. With Inter Milan. Not the best of season. We saw them. Try to get over the line over a very good Napoli team. They got embarrassed, in Munich versus Paris Saint-Germain. Monterrey, team in Liga MX, not the best saw they lost their first qualifying round in the playoff, after Liga MX season that just finished. I think it's Apertura or Claus. I don't remember. I kind of mixed up. But Eddie, get me correct in this. Apertura, it just finished and it's moving on to the Clausura. Which one it is? Comment, correct me in the comment section as well. But Monterrey, not the best of Monterrey that I saw in the past. With Sergio Ramos got injured in the playoff of Liga MX. They really missed him a lot. They missed that vocal point up front. But the Mexican team will always bring a wave in this tournament. They will
Yeah,
be
and
fully back in this tournament.
yeah,
The Red Diamond from Japan, but the boys from Buenos Aires, the red and white, River Plate, the top dogs in Buenos Aires, they will give a shout in this group. And don't be surprised if River Plate can tap this soon. You understand? But your takes and prediction.
yeah. I think another Argentines team. Coach. Big up yourself, Coach Chin. You don't know, but River Plate, Inter. I think Inter will top the group. Regardless of what happened at the end of the season, I think they still have quality. You get what I'm saying? They have experience. So I know they lost their coach, but I still think Inter will have quality to top the
Yeah.
group. And then I just think I don't know too much about Monterrey and Red Diamonds, but I think River Plate,
Yeah.
River Plate always have some good players over the years. They produce so many top players. So I think River Plate, will come in second, and then it will be the team that's Monterrey and Red Diamonds. They're gonna have to fight it out who come last. You get what I'm saying? But I just have the Inter and River Plate to go through in that group.
Yeah. I have Inter Milan and Monterrey, probably, the best of River Plate, but I would love to see. No, 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 no. I think I made it mix up. I have Inter Milan and River Plate to get through in
Yeah.
this zone. I think River Plate would have too much for Monterrey, but it's going to be a big showdown. That game, you understand, between the Argentinians and the Mexicans. But Group F, Dortmund, Fluminense, Sundown from South Africa, Ulsan FC from Japan. You see Dortmund get qualification in this zone. Fluminense get qualification in this zone. The team from South Africa, Sundown, and Ulsan FC from Japan, not so much of quality, but you see Dortmund really get on top of this zone.
Yeah, I think Dortmund should have quality over another European team. I think they should have enough quality to overcome all three teams. I think that Fluminense game I think Fluminense should be able to beat those other two teams too. David Thiago Silva
Yeah.
played for Fluminense, so he should able to get this team over the line. It's Marcelo still there? Are you retired?
No, you're tired.
Retired,
He's
yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
But moving on to the other group with Manchester City, we saw them spend like 120 plus million in the transfer market.
Crazy.
Nuri, Cherky, and the Dutch player from AC Milan. And we saw the team from Morocco, Casablanca, Juve and Alin from UAE. I was watching the Allen Hein team in their continental tournament, and it's a very good team. But I think with the Pep Guardiola at the helm, Manchester City keeps spending 100 plus million already in the champion in the transfer market. You will say, look, Juve, Billy scrape Champions League football at the end. So they should have everything to be on top. Behind Juve finish in second.
Yeah, I think Man City definitely they guaranteed first place. I just don't see where they should slip up. Maybe against Juventus, but I think they still will have too much for Juventus, and Juventus should be the one that coming in second. I know you just said that they barely get Champions League, but I still think Juventus and Man City should have enough depth to beat both teams and get into the knockout stage. But I just think that group should be very straightforward for those two teams. You get what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Yeah.
yeah. And also the next zone with Real Madrid, Pachuca. I want to see that game. It's
I must
Pachuca,
say, this group is. I could say this is like the group of death a little bit.
yeah, it's a little bit group of that. You probably could say maybe because Monterrey is not on such prolific form. The interzone is okay. You understand? But I want to go back up to the zone where Paris Saint-Germain, Botafogo, and Atletico Madrid, it's a very good zone as well. You could say maybe that's a group of dead, but I don't want to say Palmeiras, but the Bayern, Benfica, Boca, that's a very good zone as well. But I would say the Atletico Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Botafogo, and Seattle, maybe that's the toughest group of all. But Al Hilal, maybe if they would have get Bruno Fernandes and the other player, Victor Osimhen as well, maybe there'll be a group
They
of
was
debt.
trying for Conte too.
Yeah, they were trying for Kante as well for a short-term contract, but Real Madrid, should have so much quality over these teams. But if they should get a test, maybe it would be the Mexican team, especially with the 12-man backing in the stadium, and also Al Hilal, very good team. Simone Inzaghi is at the helm at this moment. You understand, people? So we have come to an end, of the FIFA Club World Cup preview. Looking forward for that tomorrow as well. As me and Daniel will continue to assess what's ahead in that tournament. And people, so we're going to talk about reggae boys football, CONCACAF football, Central American football. We're going to touch a little bit on what's happened, the CONCACAF draw that happened, the club, the not the club World Cup, but hold on, let me get them. Okay, good. Yeah, so we're going to get into the World Cup qualifier, draw and talk about what's happened in CONCACAF. We saw so many Central American teams, and we saw in chucked up in one part, we saw the Caribbean teams in one group. And so we're going to get, the expert, the pie, to talk about the teams in Central America. So people, just give me just probably 30 seconds. Let me just transfer, the set and hand over you with these analysts to talk about the reggae boys and Central American teams. So, Mr. Depay, welcome to the Nick and Dad podcast, my friend. People, this is a guy that's going to discuss and give us more in depth of what is going on in Central America about Panama, El Salvador, Guatemala, Costa Rica, El Salvador, all these teams, and also we have, a former player on the line, Mr. Kevin Blackwood. Welcome to the show again, my friend.
Bogbala.
Are you hearing me, Kevin Blackwood? You're on mute.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. You hear me
Yeah,
now?
yes, I'm hearing you right.
Yeah. Thank you
So we
for
have,
having me.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Kevin is behind
football
the
line.
scene.
So, eh?
Yeah, we have to put the rookie baller behind the scene so his picture don't come up. We have to give the pie, much respect. His first time he debuted on the Nicaragua Media's platform and Daniel Football Show. But the pie, welcome, to the platform. But
Mhm.
we want to get straight into it. We saw a group in the World Cup qualifier just got named, look a bit over 24 hours ago that a group of CFU members, the Jamaica, Bermuda, Trinidad and Tobago, and Curacao. But
Mhm.
when you look over on the different side, you saw Costa Rica, Honduras, and the other side, you saw Panama and El Salvador and Guatemala and Surinamese. So what's it takes? What's your takes on what is going on in Central America about these two groups, Group A and Group C?
Yeah, no. First and foremost, I appreciate you guys having me here, man. It's good to talk about some football with you guys.
Yeah.
Try to share a little bit of the knowledge that I know, but other than that, I appreciate you guys having me here. So, but yeah, man. No, I think the Group A and Group C, I think those are going to be some tough games, right, between Central American teams. I think we've known since the beginning of times. These teams always go at each other's throats, right? Regardless of what position they're in, they might be the worst or they might be the best, but it's always going to be some good games, some good matchups, and um, you know, I think first and foremost, I think that Group A, right? That Group A with Panama, Guatemala, El Salvador, and then you have Suriname involved in it as well. I think that's, in my opinion, I feel like it's the group of death. I mean, all three. You got Panama that right now is, arguably you can argue it could be like number two or number three in all of Concacaf, right? With everything that they got going on, and then you got Guatemala. That's a good project that's going on with Fernando Tena. Really it's good, and then El Salvador. So I think to me that'll be the group of death, and then Group C you have Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua that for the first time qualifying to the final rounds, and then and so but it should be fun. It should be fun.
Yeah. Kevin, you're hearing me, right?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
So your TX on Group B, with Jamaica, Bermuda, Trinidad and Tobago, we saw it in the news, we saw it around, and how I feel about all those CFU members are happy with that draw, as it's I don't want to say easier part, but it's a less competitive zone where Jamaica, find themselves. I would say we are the lucky ones to find ourselves in that Group B. Could have easily find ourselves swapping place with the Surinamese in Group A, but your takes on Group B.
Um, Group B, thank God we beat Guatemala to finish first. Being able to snatch a spot like this, because seeing myself in Group A would have been an uphill task, really, because playing Panama in Panama is rough, and then even playing them both legs is going to be tough. But it's an easier part to the World Cup. Not to discredit any other team like Trinidad or Bermuda or anything like that. But it's just like we really need to lock in on Curacao, because they're really good. They have a lot of like Dutch players I see. And they've been balling, man. They've been playing well. If we can get 4 or 5 wins out of these games, Bermuda home and away, beat them home and away, Trinidad home and away, and if we can get a win here at the office against Curacao, then our chances are safe. But I like the squad that they put out though, for the Gold Cup. Obviously, it's a dress rehearsal for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. But I like our chances. I really love it. I'm actually excited or elated that we landed in a group like this.
Yeah. Daniel, how much points you think it will take the Reggae Boys to get out of this zone? Because we know when we touch on soil, in Trinidad and Tobago, it's going to be a hostile environment because of the reggae versus soca. It's a rivalry. You understand? Yeah. It's just like when the Honduran and the Panamanian team used to be that big rivalry in Central America. What is it? How much points you think it will take for this Reggae Boy team to get out of this zone? You see Curacao beating every other team outside of the Reggae Boys?
Yeah, depend. Just like what Kevin just said, that they're getting a lot of players from from the Dutch and Netherlands. Yeah, they're getting a lot of players. So that's quality right there. You get what I'm saying? But overall, Jamaica should be able to win all their home games. I think the home games at the office should be a must. You get what I'm saying? And everything else, if we can get a draw away at Curacao and a draw away at Trinidad, I'm fine with that. I don't care what happened in the next game. But once we can get all our points, our 3 points at the office, I think we're guaranteed to go through. That's why, because I just don't see Curacao and the Trinidad Tobago win. Out of the games and we at our home, I just don't see them able to win all of the other games. So once Jamaica can make the office a fortress, I think we definitely be going to that World Cup.
So you're saying that maybe at least
12 points.
At least 12 points should take us out of this zone moving forward. Depay, what country, what part of you from? Is it Honduras?
Yeah, no, I'm Guatemalan, man. I'm Guatemalan.
Guatemala.
Yes.
So what was that feeling when you saw El Salvador, Panama? I know you want to play a little bit of Caribbean islands, because of many different aspect of the games, but
Mhm.
you managed to get two Central American teams
Yeah.
and a Surinamese team, which again would affiliate with a lot of Dutch players
Mhm.
as well in that team. But what was your takes? You think that you can get out of this one? Can Fernando Tennis get out of this one?
Yeah, first and foremost, I was like, God, why do you hate us, man? Why you put us in such a tough group like that, man? No, but all seriousness though, man, I think it's one of those things where it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be a challenge. When I saw Panama, man, I was like, damn, like that's really the team that you're looking like. That I don't know if we can, but as long as you're able to get a good result at home, that's what really matters. Because playing them in Panama is gonna be difficult, man. I think that's one of the toughest places you could play. Not even Mexico or the U.S. could go over there and beat them at their own game, at home. And so, but no, I think in general, man, I think what Tena's doing with Guatemala, I think it's beautiful to see, especially for a team that's been suspended for. I believe it was like 2 years that we were suspended from any FIFA international type of games, being at the bottom from Group C in Nations League and taking us all the way to Group A, and then giving us a performance like we did in Gold Cup last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah,
And we went, and we ended up getting knocked out by Jamaica, right, at 1-0. Which, but at times I felt like we were able to put up a fight with you guys, put up a fight, and it came down to the wire with that. But then, yeah, just seeing the progression that this team has had,
yeah,
why not? Why not believe
yeah,
that we could do something? Why not make history? And so
yeah,
even though it's going to be a tough road to do, but I think we all know here is that every game at home has to be crucial. You have to get those 3 points. You can't let
yeah.
not even 3 points go by, because then it's like, what's going to happen in a way. So, I think a lot of people from Panama, El Salvador, think that Guatemala is like the ugly duck. That they think like, oh yeah, we don't have that respect yet.
Yeah.
So I think that plays a lot in favor, man. And then I was looking too at the schedule as well. Um, I feel like we can, because the last two games are going to be at home. We play Panama and Guatemala, and then Suriname comes to Guatemala for the last match. And so I feel like that could be a very big factor in the schedule as well. You play
So
you
you are
play
the
all
last.
three
So your last game is at home in Guatemala
at
City.
home. Yeah, both last
So,
games. Yeah, the one
so
before that
yeah,
is at home as
yeah.
well. So I think we all know that those qualifier games at home, or especially at the end, are very important. So yeah, I feel like the best we can do is do the, I don't know how you say it in English, but el repechaje, get that second place with the most points to go through to the next round, to
To the
see if
next
we
round.
can, to the next round to see what we can do. But
So at
anything's
least you want
possible.
your country to be competitive in this.
Competitive, yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
just
and,
want to be
and and
competitive.
I'm gonna keep it real with you guys, man. If we're not gonna do it, knock somebody's asses out, knock somebody out, you ruin
What the
somebody's day.
Nick?
Yeah.
What does the second place get to? Does they get?
So you get into a playoff format where you play other teams from
Is
different
it
continents.
is it every second place team in the
No,
third in
it's
the
just one second place, the best
the
second
best?
place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the best second place. But Daniel, I want to look at this one. Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Haiti. This is a tough zone. We know that the former Mexican coach, Miguel Herrera, is at the helm now. Costa Rica, Honduras, Ronaldo Rueda, the Asian team, getting more and more players playing in third division of France football, fourth division of France football. Nicaragua, it's always tough go down there on that astroturf. We saw the Reggae Boys went down there and it's problem. But one thing I have to say, played a regular friendly game in Central America is different. Depa, you can drop in as well. The World Cup qualifier game, it's a different feel factor in the stadium than it's a regular friendly. So every home games, it's going to be matter for that home team to get at least 1 point. You understand? So I mean, Daniel, your takes on Group C with Costa Rica, Honduras, Haiti, and Nicaragua. How you see that group will unfold in the future?
Yeah, and definitely group of death. Someone that say on farm, put Costa Rica to definitely get through. But Haiti, I like Haiti. You know, I watch them in the last World Cup. They have some quality. I like how they play, and their team is improving over the last couple of years and stuff like that. But Honduras, I don't know what to get from Honduras. I think
Yeah,
their team kind of declining over the past couple of years. You know, they tend to hold on to players for too long. You get what I'm saying? But I think Costa Rica should definitely, with the quality they have, you know, they always at the World Cup. You know, I think they bring to I think they've been to the last like 2, 3, 4 World Cup. So they definitely should be the favorites to get through. But I just have Haiti. I think Haiti for me will be that best second place team for me. I just think Haiti will be that one to get that second spot to play that playoffs. But overall, I still think Costa Rica should have enough to get through.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not sure about Nicaragua. I watched Jamaica with Nicaragua. I think Nicaragua, they look good at home, but I think they struggle when they go away.
yeah.
Nicaragua. Yeah.
You know, you said a very strong statement on Honduras. It's like you don't know what you're going to get, from the age. You can have your takes on Honduras as after this, Depay. It's like when they played at home, they played some Caribbean islands at home, but when you see they play away in the islands, I think they played like Belize and they struggle to beat Belize at times, so you can get this mixed factor of this Honduras team. It's like it's a good team at home. Have a good manager. Now they get back Romel Kyoto. It's like how can they gel? That front line. With Luis Palma. As well. But your takes though, the pie and Honduran team that it can give you, a good game and a bad game on any day.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you guys. I think for me, Honduras, out of all the Central American teams, I think they're the ones that have been underperforming. I think, the results that they've been having have been very questionable, in my opinion. I think there was a point in that they were losing to like one of the worst teams in the Caribbean that, like, or that was like super bad. And they were losing like 2-0 at one point, and it was just like, what Honduras is this, right? Because this is not the Honduras we're all used to, and so they're usually a really tough team to play against, right? And so I think that Honduras might be that team that in that group that could possibly, if they don't step it up, they can get knocked out. They can get knocked out. They won't get that second place or first place, right? And so I agree with you guys completely. We don't know what Honduras we're going to see. I think honestly, in this Gold Cup, could be a big factor on what we see from a lot of these teams in general, not just Honduras, but just in everybody, to see what are we going to get in these qualifiers. But yeah, Honduras to me, man, is they're not the best versions of we know that they can be.
Yeah,
So yeah, and then from that group as well, I feel like Haiti as well. I feel like they could be somebody that you can watch out for. But talking about Nicaragua though, I think Nicaragua, like you guys said, I think away they have a really tough time winning.
yeah.
But I don't know. There's a
But
rumor.
with
I don't
with
know.
but with
Uh huh.
with with Bonilia coming back in full for I think the last couple of windows, how much that's important for Nicaraguan people.
Oh, it's very important. He's one of the, if not the best player on the team. He's a difference maker, right? He's one of the best players that's on the pitch when he's there. And so, but I think what's going to play a big factor in Nicaragua is really the home advantage that they're going to
Home
have. I
advantage
heard
on that
I, I
turf.
heard yeah, I heard that they're going to move their games to the stadium in Real Esteli, which is one of
Oh,
the
so they're gonna
more.
move from the
I
national
believe
stadium to
so.
Esteli.
I believe so. That's
Okay,
the rumor that I'm hearing, and I think that's going to play a big factor for
and
them
that's
as
a more
well.
hostile environment.
Yes, more hostile environment, and so I think that's going to play a big factor in this as well. And so Nicaragua can be a surprise as well. I really believe
Yeah,
it. And so we'll see. And but other than that, man, that's how I look at this. But don't know too much about Haiti. But
yeah, yeah. We that's
that's
the
the way
thing.
I
We
look
don't
at it.
know much about these French players as they're
Yeah.
playing lower tier football in French football. But Kevin, Group C and all of the groups in A and B, this World Cup will show us what quality those teams will have, especially in Group C. You know, you think Costa Rica will be that name brand favorite to get out and qualify for the World Cup?
I think for some countries like Costa Rica, for example, Brazil, Argentina, England, some of those countries, it's automatic for them to go to the World Cup um, because of the brand of football and play over the years. It's very consistent. Just like what Dan said, for the past 3, 4, 5 World Cup, Costa Rica been in it. They have a
Yeah.
formula. They know what it takes to win. I don't see them like struggling to get out of the group. I just think their biggest challenge um, is themselves at this point because we all know that Honduras. It's 11 o'clock. We all know that Honduras is on the decline. Because at one point Honduras had like such a good midfield like 4 years ago, and they had like 4 left-footed players playing in the midfield, so it's kind of hard to. But for this group, I think Haiti is the dark horse. You have to watch out for them because of
Yeah.
just like what you said. They have a couple players that are playing in the 3rd and 4th division in France. They're really good, but Nicaragua, the AstroTurf that they use, it can play to their advantage because we all play there on grass and compared
Oh
to
yeah,
Astro.
I wanna ask you on about that because I remember we had this conversation like 6 years ago, or is it long? Or when I think no, let me rebut that. I probably like 8, 10 years ago we had this conversation, Kevin, when you made the transition from Jamaica High School to Cleveland State University, and you
Mhm.
told me that the transition from playing on a natural grass from the national stadium onto a astroturf, it actually did a lot of damage to your shin. So we seen it how even Seattle, that's going to be, I don't know if Seattle will play the FIFA Club World Cup on the astroturf. You understand? But how much of an impact this can make on the European players, but not players that don't used to playing on an astroturf.
It's not how much of an impact. It's gonna make an impact on them, impact them game, their body, and stuff like that. Because I know for me, when I just left Jamaica, practicing on AstroTurf, I had shin splints, back spasm, and all that. The ball moves faster. It balls different. So, especially a lot of these players are used to these lush, smooth, and well moist, and well watered grass and fields. So it's gonna play a major part in a lot of the games. So we'll see. Like I said, Nicaragua can use that to their advantage, but I know for some of the players they're gonna be a little beaten up from playing 50, 60, 70 minutes. So
Yeah. Yeah. So but even in Group C, we're going to go to the Gold Cup, but we have to put in the context as well. This Honduras team failed to make it out of the last Gold Cup as well with Mexico. I think Qatar in that zone as well. You understand? So let's see what this Honduras team, because I think that Honduran, I think they gave Ronaldo Rueda, the Colombian coach, everything in his disposal to make sure this Honduras team to qualify for another World Cup. I mean, Daniel, before we go to the Gold Cup, your takes on, Group C. Wait, I want you to touch on, just talk about the Nicaraguan, how, because Depay said something that we don't know about, that they might move from, the national stadium to play in Real Esteli, the biggest club in Nicaragua, which it's more hostile environment. But the national stadium have pitched that not a lot of players in this region used to, the AstroTurf. Much of an impact. Those 3 home games against Costa Rica, Haiti, and Honduras be a major factor for them to qualify for the World Cup, but not so. But at least be competitive and get a second spot in Group C.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be up to the Nicaragua team. Like, say for instance, like they're gonna ask their players, what are you guys comfortable playing on? Are you guys comfortable playing on the asphalt field or real grass? So I think that's gonna be something that they're gonna have to discuss with their own players, because I think they can use that advantage. Just like Kevin said, playing, and I play on fake grass, and that is not it. You get a lot of knee injury, ankle injury. You gotta wear different studs. Basically you gotta do a whole different thing. So I think if their player is very much comfortable playing on that grass, I think they're gonna use it, because I think that's the only thing. And that's something you can use at advantage. You get what I'm saying? Because you have to do everything that you can do to make it to the World Cup. This is gonna be the easiest challenge to get to the World Cup, because USA, Canada, Mexico is not gonna be there. So whatever it's gonna take them to get there, they're gonna have to use it. And I watched them play against Jamaica. They play the ball so good. They keep the ball so good. That's one of their strength. And if they can use that against any team, I think they definitely have a shot. But I just think
Yeah.
that where they're gonna struggle is when they go away.
Yeah.
That's where they're gonna struggle, because I just don't think they have enough quality to
Yeah.
go to
Costa
Costa
Rica.
Rica
Yeah.
and
In San
dominate
Jose. Yeah.
and dominate. I just don't see that. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
their main focus should be, hey guys, you got. I assume that they're gonna have that, because I'm thinking that most of their players play in their own
Yeah.
country, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that they're gonna camp out and have these guys on this field playing. You get what I'm saying? So they can get used to it. So I can see they stay right there.
Yeah. So we're going to switch base a little bit as we're going to touch on the Copa, or we're going to preview the Gold Cup. And I want to start off Group A, with the pie. Costa Rica, and Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and also Dominican Republic. It would be a historic moment tomorrow, the pie. When the L3 play, the DR. It's going to be a magnificent game, but your takes before we move on to the game tomorrow versus Mexico and DR. What's your takes on Group A? Which team might be that dark horse in that group?
Yeah, for sure. You want me to take my takes on Group A, not the game, just the Group A in
Group
general?
A first.
Okay.
Yeah, talk
Okay.
about Group A first.
Yeah, Suriname is in that group, right?
No,
Is
we're
Dominican-
talking about the Gold Cup now. We previewing the Gold Cup.
Yeah. So it's Mexico,
So
the Dominican Republic, Suriname, and then Costa Rica are
no,
in that group,
Costa
right?
Rica, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and DR.
Oh, I thought Saudi Arabia was in Group D.
No.
No? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
US.
you're right. You're right.
He's
You're
right.
right.
He's right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Costa Rica, Dominican
Okay.
Republic,
I got it
Mexico.
wrong. I got it
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah. No worries. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong, but honestly, the dark horse in that group is probably going to be Suriname. Honestly, I mean, with the type of talent that they got going on, with a lot of the players playing in a lot of the great divisions, like you have that one player that plays in Real Sociedad in Spain, and then you have a couple players that play in Germany and in Belgium as well. It's like they have a lot of quality players, and so I think they would be the ones that could be the dark horse of that group. But to me, it really seems a little bit difficult to take that away from Mexico and Costa Rica to come out of that group, man. I think Mexico, just in general, I mean, I think ever since Aguirre took over the national team from Lozano, they changed a lot. They changed a lot. They played with a different type of chip on their shoulder. We saw it in the Nations League. They won it after US going for that three-peat, and then they finally were able to win that. And so I think with all that, and then I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, go ahead.
I want to ask you. I ask many Latinos this question: what's the difference between Avi Aguirre and Jaime Lozano? Why this team is so perfect? Is it because you have the superstition like Rafa Marquez? He's coming over from Barcelona, be someone that who very respected around Mexican football. And Mexican football, a lot of egos is around this national team. And for someone, like Avi Aguirre to come back into the setup, bring someone who is a former player, a legend, in Mexican football. How much is it important, and what's the difference, the style of play between Jaime Lozano and Avi Aguirre?
Yeah, I think honestly, man, I think it's mainly the mentality. I think, in my opinion, the way I see it is that Jimmy Lozano was more like I would say more like a puppet in a way. Was really doing everything that the federation wanted him to do, right? I think it was more of not really having his players to really play at maximum level that they know that they can play with. And Aguirre does, and we could see that mentality change once Aguirre took over that national team, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the way I look at it. That's my opinion on it. And so that's why I feel like Mexico, and that it's going to be really tough to beat them. And then I think too, I think we all know it, playing here in the US, I mean, you're going to play against their fans. That stadium is always
it's a home game. Every Mexican
it's
game
always
is
a
a
home
home
game.
game.
It's a home game. And so, that's really that plays a big factor in for why
But remember, they are the defending champions, so there will be a lot of pressure on them as well to succeed.
Yeah, they have the pressure now because I think they're bringing out their whole squad to play with, right? It's
Yeah,
not, and so it's all the stars are coming out to play, you know. And I mean, I think it's their biggest tournament before they actually get ready for the World Cup.
for
I
the
mean,
World Cup. Yeah,
you have to play. You can't
yeah,
take these games off, and so to me, I feel like that's gonna play. I feel like they're the ones that can come out that group, right? And then Costa Rica is the other one. I mean, the project that they got, man. I mean, I
yeah.
don't like them, but hey, I gotta give them
They
props, man.
lost, they lost Eagles, man.
I
Yeah,
gotta give them
yeah,
props. I gotta give them
yeah,
props. You know, coming from a bunch of young players, man. Coming
yeah.
from
From the Copa America.
yeah, the Copa America, they were able to get those kids to have those games under their belt, which is really important playing in those type of tournaments. Then you take them to the Nations League, where you play teams like Guatemala in a hostile environment, and now you're playing the qualifiers, and now you're going into a Copa America. Like they're a team that has some games under their belt together, and then you have Piojo Herrera that is a great coach as well, and so I think those are the two main teams that I think that should be the favorites to come out that group. I don't see nobody else. But if you talk about a dark horse, I would say Suriname is the dark horse in that group. Dominican Republic, I'm gonna just be honest with you guys, like they're done, bro. They're done.
Yeah,
Like don't
yeah,
like why you there?
yeah,
Why you
yeah.
there? Yeah, but
You say
yeah,
baseball nation.
and so but nah,
But Kevin,
other than that,
I
yeah.
have I have one for you. Because you touched on something very important, that the Costa Rica and the Los Ticos played a very young team. I think it was one of the youngest team in the last Copa America of last year summer. They're in Colombia, Paraguay, and Brazil zone. They managed to get 4 points out of that zone where they have it's all South Americans, and that young team came through that barrier. They came through that warrior spirit of games. You saw they fight off the Brazilian team, the Paraguayan team, the Colombian team. They were competitive. It's just a point away from not qualify for the knockout rounds. Now, you look ahead. That team would have get massive experience. And talking about experience, Keylor Navas, Miguel Herrera managed to bring him back in full of just put the glue in between these young players. So what's going on with this Costa Rican team in this zone, for the Gold Cup?
Just like what you said, they brought back two players. Navas is one of them. Navas is like probably 39, 40 years old now. So you're mixing a little bit of experience with the youth, in which the youth already got some experience from the Copa America games. But they're just a bunch of young players who actually they have a point to prove, because we have been there before, been young and getting a little bit of minutes, and then the minutes that we got, we try to make the most of it, right? And trying to make a positive impact. But the way they play, the way they the opponent to have the ball, or you missed him.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah, coming just to the breakup. Yeah, but the way them press as a group, it's just like stifling, and that's where they were able to because of the youth, they're young, they're fresh, they're hungry. They're able to press Brazil and press Paraguay and Colombia, just to make sure that they just they're not allowing anybody to play their game. And then when they get the ball, they just break out and explode, and then just trying to make something happen on the counter. But like I said, they have a model, they have a system that's been working for them for many years now, and they're not changing it. They have one midfielder that usually was Douglas Ruiz. He was the only one who, gets a free role to play, but everybody else has to play, both sides of the ball. But Costa Rica for me, and Mexico is getting out of this group.
Yeah. Are we going to bring Daniel in? Daniel, the Group A, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, this is a historic moment for them. We just saw this team went to Guatemala, and they put in a very good shift. They're almost in it. If they got something for that game, they easily go on to the next round of the World Cup qualifier. But no, they're in another major tournament, and this is a showcase for their talent. We saw what Junior Firpo can do, at the club level. Can he make that transition and help this Dominican Republic team? I think the Mexican will be too strong for them, but it's all about what they can do, pick their moment against the Los Ticos and the Surinamese team. Your takes on Group A.
I think Group A will be straightforward. Mexico, Costa Rica. I just think too much quality. The quality with it. But I think Dominica should just be proud and just happy that they're over the last couple of years they're able to start to develop a football team, because we view them as a baseball nation. You get what I'm saying? So I just think that they just have to take their time and just keep doing their thing. You get what I'm saying? I know Junior Purple is not gonna be enough. You get what I'm saying? Good player, but it's not gonna be enough for to bring them anywhere. But you just cannot be very competitive in the tournament. You don't want to just get run over. You get what I'm saying? Get embarrassed 6-0, 5-0. You get what I'm saying? So just to be very competitive in the thing, and just make the Dominican people very proud. They get what I'm saying. But I just think that it's gonna be too much to go up against. But I have to say something when Depay said that Mexico is the one that's gonna be under pressure. I think the US is under pressure because the US has been awful. They have lost 4 games straight, and Pochettino is a dead man walking. So I think the US have to prove a point that they are not a horrible team. So I think the US is under a lot of pressure. I think Mexico was the one that was in a lot of pressure in the last Nations League and the Copa America. Because remember, they was firing, they was chopping players. You get what I'm saying? And they're able to get over that lump and win the Nations League. You get what I'm saying? So I think that the US is coming into this tournament as the one that under most pressure.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to Group B. Kevin, I want to get your takes on this. This is a very, very interesting one as well. The last Copa America, we saw Jesse Marsh came in, and I like 2 months before the Copa America, he played France and he played the Netherlands. He got trashed in both games, but he managed to get this Canadian team out of a group which with the Albe Celeste, the La Roja, the Peru team, you understand, and managed to get to the semi-final with 4 points. The chemistry and the tactics and the man management from Jesse March, that was important. Can he make the transition into this Gold Cup? Because this Gold Cup, Canada should be competing, especially making addition players like the likes of Gibbonson, the likes of Promise, David, player that playing in Belgium. So this Canadian team is one for sure. Not many people giving them the recognition of what they did last Copa America. The CONCACAF team that carried the flag in that tournament. So now we saw with a team like Curacao, the last Gold Cup they were in, they managed to get out of that zone, which they played Jamaica, Honduras, and then Salvador. They finished second behind Jamaica in 2019. We saw El Salvador team, the last time they qualified, they went to the knockout round in 2017. Honduras failed to qualify for the knockout round of last Gold Cup. Canada should have everything in this zone. But I want you to give your perspective on Jesse Marsh and the man management of what he's doing with this Canadian team.
All right, Jesse Marks pretty much put them back on the map, right? The first 2 games in charge, he's like, oh yeah, welcome. Just throw him in the middle of the ocean. You figure out if you can swim, you swim. If you can't swim, you drown. So he was drowning for a little bit, but take the whole 360 with that whole Canadian team. Everybody fight for each other, and I like how them play. So them wingers, they're so direct and so positive, skillful, pacey, and then Jonathan David. Wish we could have seen Alfonso Davis in this to just to see how him look going forward. I kind of like Alfonso Davis actually more on the right instead of on the left going down and crossing it. But the Canadian team, they're definitely one of the favorites. We saw. Remember, we went to that game, Jamaica versus Canada. In Canada, Nick and I, and wow, that the back and forth, the up and down, and they're very athletic. They're fast. You think there's a bunch of Jamaicans playing on their team. Oh, electric they are. When they hit that, they 1-2 touches in the middle of the park and then spray to the other side, and then everybody just getting in, flying to the box and stuff. But the Canadian team, I like what Jesse Marsh is doing. I like how they're playing in midfield, how compact they are, and like I said, they put pressure on the ball. And just like Canada is one of those stadiums, one of those atmosphere you don't really want to play in, because just like what you said, when you're playing in the US, it's the same thing in Canada. You're playing against fans as well, and it's kind of hard. But with I think, let me see what group they're in.
They in Carousel, El Salvador.
Not saying that they should breeze through the group, but they should get out of the group comfortably behind
Oh, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna give it to Canada, and then between Curacao and Honduras to get out of that group. But I'll slightly give Curacao the edge because they're on the up and coming. So and so this is a Gold Cup. It's not like the World Cup or the World Cup qualifier.
Yeah.
But for me, it's Canada and Curacao. But I love the Canadian team. They're one of my picks outside of Jamaica to win the whole thing.
Yeah. Depay. This Group B, with the Canadian team, we saw that the Honduras team, failed in the last Gold Cup to make it to the knockout round. I think they were in the Qatar zone in Mexico as well. Mexico beat them, I think, 4-0 in that group stage. If Ronaldo Ruida missed out on a knockout round for this Gold Cup, his job would be on a threat.
I think there'll be questions about it. I think it could be, but I don't think they would pull the trigger just yet, because I think the qualifiers are right around the corner, and to get rid of a coach as soon as the qualifiers about to start, that could be a big mistake. It could either break you or make you. It could be 50-50. It could be something good or it could be something bad. But I think Honduras, in a sense, does have a little bit of pressure to show face. I think what we were talking about, how they've been doing in the qualifiers, they haven't been the best. We don't know what they're doing, and so I think they do need to show out a little bit here at this Gold Cup, and show face and show. And I mean, it's going to help them out as well. I mean, like what we were talking about here in the U.S., you have so many Honduran people living here that any game that they're going to play, it's going to be a home game, and we all know it that 12th man helps out a lot. It helps out a lot. And so I think that's going to be a big factor as well. And so I think Honduras, I think they could possibly do something, but it's very difficult. But yeah, back to the Rueda's job on the line. I think his job has been on the line, because I don't think the Honduran people are happy with the results that they're getting. Because I mean, let's be real, they should be beating these teams by a margin, right? And they're not doing that, and they're struggling to do it. So
the Canadian team and Jesse March, how much you impressed with this national team since this new coach came in?
Yeah, I mean, I've been liking them, man. I've been liking them. I think they were the only ones in the World Cup that showed out for CONCACAF, even though they lost. But the way they were playing, though, it was like they should have won some of those games. In my personal opinion, they got some great players, man. And the way they play, man, it's good to see. It's good to see. And I think everything from the World Cup to La Copa America, it's been to me, in my personal opinion, people gave me heat for it, but I felt like they were the best team in CONCACAF in general. I think they were better than the U.S. and Mexico, in my opinion, just by the way they were playing and the way they were doing things. But the only thing that I have is this last Nations League kind of gave me a really doubt. I thought they were going to do better. I don't know if their main focus was just to beat the U.S. and knock them out, and I don't know if that was their main goal, but I think in this group in general, man, I think Canada should be the favorite to come out of that. I think Jesse March has this team playing a really solid type of football that we see, and it's a very intriguing one to watch as well. And so I think they should be fine. And I think they should be one of the, if not favorite to win this Gold Cup.
Yeah. I want to answer. There's a comment that so big man I say Honduras I go win, brother. What kind of ball knowledge you have? I don't want, big man. Honduras, they were in Mexico, Qatar, and 80 zone of last Gold Cup, and they finished third. Yeah, they finished third. Honduras haven't been playing like their natural self when they have like the Wilson
You need to
Palacio
ask him.
and all these players.
You need to ask him what am I gonna win, and say Honduras are
What
gonna win.
what
You know what? Win a
I don't know
game.
what they're going to win. Honduras have improved even to their own nations that they make a turn around to make the next goal to make the World Cup qualifiers. You understand? So I don't know, man, but Honduras team is a big question mark. You understand? It's not the Honduras team that we used to in the past. But
what conflicts, man? I say, what kind of nonsense is man say?
This one, any other team that win Gold Cup will only win based on ref cause I don't. Did you guys manage to see the altercation with James Rodriguez and Lionel Messi? Because James called them out and said the reason why they won the Copa was because of the referee call. You saw that, Dipal, right?
I did.
I did saw that.
I agree with James.
He was shocked.
I agree with him. I agree with James,
Yeah.
man. Come on, man. Come on.
Hey, not just the Copa America now. Like, that's something about the World. What's right now?
That's all, man. Come on.
Yeah, but look, the Albion Celestes have always get their cars when Lionel Messi is on the pitch. But I mean, look, they have played really well throughout the Copa America and the World Cup, so I think they deserve it. You have to give Scaloni a lot of credit because he was a very unknown coach coming in for the job. In 2019, I think so. Credit to Scaloni and his men. A World Cup and back-to-back Copa America. Remember when Argentina was losing Copa America after Copa America versus the Chile team? So they're on their right side at the moment. But my favorite for Group B will be the Canadian team and Curacao. I see Curacao to give this Honduran team a run for their money. Let me say this. There's a lot of news that is going around about Justin Clivert to be representing the Curacao team, and he's going to make a decision soon. So they approach him, because of his father, the Legion. So, Justin Clivert, the Bournemouth player, is eligible to play for the Curacao team. So, I mean, let's see what's going to happen. And I think the next player is named Richard Bezor, a former player that, I think he used to play for Ajax as well. He used to play in the Bundesliga. So, those players are qualifying and eligible to play for the Curacao team. So if they can get those players into the last round of the World Cup qualifier, then it will say a lot for that national team, but a very good coach as well. But I see this Honduran team struggle even to beat this El Salvadoran team. You understand? But moving on to Group C, where you guys would like to talk about, the Guadeloupe, the Panamanian team, and we will face the Guatemala team once again, back-to-back games. Kevin, Group C, we have Guadeloupe, a team that beat Cuba, a team that drew with Canada. They finished with 4 points of last Gold Cup. They're going to give the Reggae Boys a lot of a task, a trouble. They're going to be the dark horse in this group. I don't know what is wrong with this Guatemalan team of playing outside of Guatemala. They're not showing enough attitude, even though they went to the quarterfinals of last Gold Cup, but they're still one of the favorites to get out alongside the Panama and Jamaica as well. Guadeloupe will be the underdog team, but your takes on Group C. Kevin, your takes on Group C. Yeah.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah. I'm hearing you.
Well, I might sound like a sellout for this, but Panama will win the group. So we already know what Panama.
Yeah, I don't say a lot. Yeah, that's not talk facts.
Yeah. So we already know what Panama can do. And we don't really want to counter Guatemala as yet, even though they haven't been playing consistently well over the past few weeks, few months. But they have a good team there, and I think it's gonna be. Even though I'm slightly gonna give Jamaica the edge over Guatemala, but it's still gonna be Guatemala and Jamaica fighting for that second spot. Guadeloupe, you said they're going to be one of those teams that it's going to give all the other three teams a run for their money, but they still don't have enough yet. They're on the up and coming. They still need a little bit more experience, especially playing against bigger teams, stronger opponents, and stuff like that. But for me, it's going to be Panama, Jamaica, Guatemala, just like how it's set up online now. Panama, Jamaica, Guatemala, and then Guadeloupe.
Depay, Carrasquillo, it's not in the group, not in the squad. What is this for the Panamanian team? We're going to see the same Panamanian team that played well in the Nations League, played well in the Gold Cup. Is this time around that this Panama team will live up to the expectation? Because now what they did in the last two tournaments, they will be under a lot of pressure to get something from this Gold Cup, even manage, to go to a final again. You understand? So with no Alberto Carrasquillo, what does it say for the Panamanian team and Thomas Christensen?
Yeah, for sure. I think they do. I think the people want a trophy. I think it's already there, but they've been knocking at the door for the past couple of years, making it to the finals, and I think they're the team that honestly, out of all Central America, the one that has made the biggest progression. They got players. They're sending players out from Panama all over Europe, all over North America as well, and they're I think they're the favorites, in this group to come out. I think the only difference between what we've seen from Panama from the previous is that I believe they're not sending their full A squad in this tournament. What I've been hearing is Christensen is going to send like an alternative, like a young mixture with like a little bit of a vet type of team that they're building up there. And so I don't know if they're taking it as serious, which I feel like they should, right? But or maybe they're just trying some players out. So they might be a different look to Panama, but either or, it might be their B squad or not. I mean, they're still going to be, there's still a team to be actually try to beat them and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I think they are the favorites. And in this other group and in this group as well, as a Guatemalan, I'm gonna say Guatemala is gonna be number 2, right? I'm gonna say Guatemala is gonna be. You guys are gonna say, it is what it is, right? My fandom wins, man.
Yeah, I listened to Fernando Tenias, the press conference after the Reggae Boy game, and he talked about played a little bit more youngsters in the team.
Yeah.
Is it because they qualified for the final run of the World Cup? What was that? A lot of changes made in that Guatemala team.
Yeah, I think what his main thing was trying out players. He wanted the young guys to get some experience under their belt. He wanted to see what they had to offer, try out some players and see who is it that he wants to keep playing and keep trying. So, to me, I kind of don't like that, but at the same time, it's like, when are you going to choose? When are you going to put them in? Right. And so to me, in this situation, I think, and it's crazy, right? We're playing each other again, like, right. Literally like back to back in a sense. Right. And it's like, this time we're playing in a way, I feel like, the advantage that we have is that we're playing in Carson, California, where there's like thousands or millions of Guatemalans that live there. And
what is the population of the Guatemalan people on the West Coast?
It's like 1 point something million people.
Wow, on the West Coast.
On the West Coast, it's just West Coast.
You remember that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm in the Midwest. In the Midwest, I'm in the Midwest. Yes.
Because I remember even the Guatemalan team was probably one of the outside of the Mexican team. They were one of the most best traveling team in the last Gold Cup.
Yeah,
they travel with massive crowd. Even travel. Is it passive? Is it Midwest? Kevin, where's Ohio? Is it Midwest? Right, when they play the game in Cincinnati. A lot of traffic of Guatemalans fans were in the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
You were residing in Ohio at that time. What was that in Cincinnati?
Me?
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, that game that when we beat them in the quarterfinals in Cincinnati. You see all those Guatemalan fans passing through the state of Ohio. What was that atmosphere was like?
We are very vibrant. The park can tell you Hispanics are, especially Guatemalans, full of energy, always happy, always static. always partying and stuff like that. I have a lot of Guatemalan friends. El Chapin, right? Chapin?
Yeah,
That's what
Chapin, Chapin, yes.
Chapin, yeah. So I have a lot of Hispanic friends, mainly Guatemalan friends. We have people from that for that game travel from Cleveland, Columbus, all over Ohio to watch that game and just to be a part, just from the outside looking in, admiring it. The fan base, they just make the stadium electric, and that's just their 12 man, and then you just feed off that. So, and as Guatemalan team, even though we're playing them again, I know they're gonna send a different lineup because obviously that lineup that they sent to Jamaica, I feel they're just resting some players and giving some other players some time to showcase themselves. But
Yeah.
and that to top it off, that game in Cincinnati, I like it. Guatemalans, you guys, yeah, full of
Yeah.
energy, very vibrant. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a game already in Harrison, New Jersey when we played them, and it was a terrific atmosphere, the Guatemalan fans. But Daniel, this one on the screen, this is where I was about to go with you, because the Panamanian team, we saw what they can do with the likes of the US, the Mexican team. They they just slightly coming up short against the two CONCACAF giants. But it's like when they play the Reggae Boys, there's always something that the Reggae Boys get the better of them in around the Gold Cup. With not so done prolific amongst the Panamanian team in World
Yeah.
Cup qualifiers, but for Gold Cup for sure, we
Mhm.
have always have this stakes on this Panama team where we just always get the better of, not always, but most of the time we get the best of them. What is that? Because we have the high quality players that just have that individual brilliance just to get us that edge in those games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we just I feel like when World Cup comes around, Jamaica always have a full quality team. You get me? Because I feel like when with the World Cup qualifiers, there's always players dropping out and chip chop and change. But I feel like when the World Cup comes around, everybody's always available. So Jamaica always have a good quality team to play. You get what I'm saying? So I just think that Panama, I'm not taking them light. You see what they did to the US. I think they're as a team, to me personally, I think they're the best team together as a team. I think they play the most. Otherwise, than Mexico that play their
Yeah,
tiki
yeah,
taka football. I think Panama does play. I like the style, I like the way how they play football. You get what I'm saying? So I think that Jamaica overall just have the experience in the World Cup. I think that guy said it right. We are otherwise Mexico and USA. I think we're probably if I don't know why Jamaica haven't won the World Cup so far, but I think that we should still have enough squad quality to able to beat this Panama team, but not take them for granted. I think they're right now they're on the up. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
They're on the up just as Canada. I think I think we slightly behind the Panama right now as we're speaking. I think you could say Mexico, US, Canada, Panama,
Panama,
Jamaica.
and
Yes,
then Jamaica. And I mean, some people would say Costa Rica, then Jamaica as well. You can't leave out the Costa Rican team. They're playing very well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I,
but
I want to say something on Guatemala.
yeah,
I think every time you see a team, two teams play two times, and then the team that win that game, and then go back into another game, the other teams are always winning us. So I think Jamaica have to be very careful with that.
yeah,
You see me? I say I think that's
yeah,
you have to be very careful with that
yeah.
Guatemala game. I think that game's
You,
gonna be very tricky.
you
But
know
go
what's
ahead.
the thing? I want you to zone in after I say this, Depay. Guatemala, every time when they're in a summer tournament, they always put their best foot forward. Whenever they played on US side, they have that 12-man back. And I don't know what is it with them on US side and with them on their home turf in Guatemala City. Depay, what is that about?
Yeah, I think it's the support, man. I think that here in the US, man, I think regardless of they play well or play bad, I think we're always 110% behind that team. It's the only time that a lot of the people, who migrated from Guatemala to here to the U.S. It's like the only way to identify, with their country. Like, it's a way to show, like, hey, they're here. Let's go all out. And then so I believe that plays a factor as well compared to, having them at home where, a lot of the times, a lot of the press, eats them up alive regardless of what the scores are. And so, I think that's where they feel more comfortable. And I think as well as the pitch, I think the pitch plays a big factor into the way they play as well. And and so I think all those come together, man, where Guatemala here in the US, they feel more, comfortable, more at home. And so, and it's not just Guatemala. I think it's just all Central American teams, man. I think
Yeah,
it's just the way they all feel. And so, but yeah, man, it should be a good one.
yeah.
And so,
I think the home fans and home side bring a lot of pressure. The media, the expectation to win that game and home side. And then as you said, the people that migrate, to the US, it's like they don't see the national team play every,
mhm.
opportunity of the international break. So now they see them, in the Gold Cup. As I said, outside of Mexico, they were the best traveling team in the last Gold Cup. So again, you said it right. You guys support them, win, lose, or draw, and it's always a feel factor moment around the Guatemalan team. So I expect them to bring challenges, to this zone. But if they want to get a second place or manage to get a first spot in this group, they have to go ahead and beat the Guadeloupe team, which we see it's not an easy
Yes,
team to beat.
yeah,
But and then when you look at it, the Guadeloupe, they were looking at Guatemala as a team that if they want to get out, they want to beat Guatemala as well. So it's vice versa. So let's see
uh,
what's going to happen. But I want to get your perspective on about the stuff that is happening in around America with the Latinos and
mhm.
the police. And you think that will affect the Gold Cup moving to the West Coast more? I don't know
Yeah.
what you think. And Daniel, you can zone in after
Mhm.
the pie said this piece.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, I have some mixed feelings about it. I feel like it will, for the sense of like what the way things are going, man. It's getting it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's not a fun time to be having these events here during this time, because I don't know if you guys heard as well during the FIFA uh, World Cup, like the Club World Cup.
yeah, the Club World Cup.
ICE is going to be security. Is going to be the security. When people are going to be going in these stadiums, like,
Yeah,
why are you doing that when the
yeah,
variety of you know what I mean? And
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's gonna play a factor. That's gonna play a factor, for this Gold Cup as well. I'm hoping it doesn't get to that point, that they're doing these things, but I do believe that some fans are gonna they're gonna think twice before going
twice.
into a stadium
Yeah,
and thinking like, man, what's gonna happen when I leave the stadium? Is there
yeah,
gonna be people waiting for me? What's going on? And so I hope it doesn't get to that point, but I know right now in California, especially in LA, it's pretty bad. So I just pray, let's just enjoy the game of
yeah,
football, man.
yeah.
Let's
All
leave
football can unite.
but
All football
yeah,
can unite the
yes,
people.
yeah, and and I hope our government sees that, man, and leave like that BS to the side, and let's just enjoy
Yeah,
it. Let's just enjoy it, because I mean, we're gonna have some big events coming here to the States. We're gonna have the
yeah.
World Cup coming, then we're gonna have the Olympics. Women's World
Olympics,
Cup is coming here.
Women's World Cup
Like you
as well.
guys,
Yeah.
like so, but yeah, I think it could play a big factor in some cases with people not wanting to go to these games and support.
Yeah, Daniel, you want something to say? Is someone that live on the West Coast?
Yeah, I think it's crazy that we have so many tournaments coming into this country, and these officials is doing these things. I get what I'm saying. I just think that they're gonna interrupt a lot of things. As the pie said, like, people gonna be thinking twice. You get what I'm saying, to go to games, because I don't want, otherwise I'm checking in. I don't want nobody coming up to me asking me for my ID, and you get what I'm saying. That's make
Yeah,
me
yeah,
feel uncomfortable. You get what I'm saying. So I think hopefully FIFA can talk to some sense in a top when me they want to call him it's
that man Tom.
top man chump, uncle, them call him
Oh,
uncle uncle, but hopefully they can have some discussion and able to sit down and talk. Because I saw a Instagram post from Versus. You get what I'm saying? They're basically saying that they thinking that they don't know if they want to come. You get what I'm saying? You know, a big platform that talk about football, and you know, they're thinking that they didn't even want to come. So hopefully that they can put that aside and let's enjoy the game. And because I can see that there's a lot of stands, there's a lot of stadium going to be empty. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Who support teams as the Mexicans, as the Latino, that
The
they love
Latinos,
the football.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I just hope they come to
They stay away from the football. You know, keep the
yeah,
politics away from the football. But
keep the
we're moving
politics.
on to, you know, from Group C to Group D. You know, Kevin, no Christian Pulisic. You know, Christian Pulisic dad, you know, and London Donovan has been going back and forth, you know, the last week or so. We saw Musa as well, personal issues of him not coming to the Gold Cup. Heard Christian said he willing to play in the friendlies, but not the Gold Cup. You know, what is that? Even when you look at last summer, we saw Julian Alvarez played a massive part for Man City. Yeah, in his last season in England, he went to the Copa America, and I think he played in the Olympics as well. Man City. So I mean, we've seen so many players played a lot of games for club and country, but when it comes on to the national team, what is it on Christian Pulisic and the Gold Cup? Why is it that he don't want to represent his national team in the Gold Cup? But your takes though of him and Musa missing, you know, for personal reasons.
First things first, we have to understand that the players are human beings, or they're not robots. In the past 2 seasons, Pulisic, I think he played over 90 games in 2 seasons,
Yeah,
over 100 games in two
yeah,
seasons, club and country, right? Um, and times like this, like the Gold Cup or whatever, players tend to pick up knocks. Obviously, we're as athletes, you have to listen to your body, and if you're not feeling it, you can't push it, because that's when you get hurt. Boom, something you put him in, he goes in and play and get hurt, probably out for a year or two. So I kind of understand where, from the player standpoint, as a team now, as a captain, you should be there. Even if you want to have a conversation with the coach and say, hey, coach, 45 minutes, or certain games you don't play me in, because as a captain, you're sending the wrong message. And so that's why the U.S. men's national team, the team camp is it's chaotic now because of all that. But besides that, they have a point to prove now because of everything else that's going on. It's embarrassing, to the U.S. men's national team and their supporters as well. So I know they're going to send for all their big guns, in which quite rightly so. And they have a point to prove because it's the first time they've ever conceded 3 goals in the first half or 4 goals in the first half, much less a game on U.S. soil. So they have a lot of making up to do, right? Because especially with the World Cup right around the corner. So the Gold Cup here is a dress rehearsal for them. Even though they're missing a few players, like you said, Musa and Pulisic, but they have Timothy with a lot more. And I think what's the left back name again? Anderson.
Anthony injured and injured as well.
So that's another opportunity for young players to step up, because at this point, it doesn't matter what team you're on, it's the next man up mentality. If Christian Pulisic don't want to play, that's opportunity for another guy the coach can look into. But from the player standpoint, if he said he needs a break, he needs a break. Because he's not a robot. But the U.S., I think they're going to bounce back from whatever they're going through because of the quality, the caliber of players they have. So in that group is just for me, it's going to be U.S., Haiti, Saudi Arabia, and Trinidad. U.S. going to finish. U.S. going to finish first. I'm not overly sold on Haiti yet, but for me, it's just going to be U.S., Saudi Arabia, Haiti, and then Trinidad.
Yeah. Daniel, the Pulisic issue, I just said it and I just look it up. The Julian Alvarez situation where he played in the Copa America and the Summer Olympics in one summer. You understand? He played 100+ games in the last 2 seasons. But he managed to always want to put on the Albi Celeste jersey. Is it as what Kevin said? Pulisic is sending that wrong message as a leader, someone that they call Captain America, that he needs to take time out. I don't know what is it, but the past players like a Clint Dempsey, I mean, yeah, they were playing in the MLS at one point and then playing in the Gold Cup, but it's football. You understand? But is it he shine away from the Gold Cup?
I think I don't want to say this, but I think that the USA players are very comfortable. Knowing why? Because they don't have no World Cup qualifiers to play. So I feel like a lot
But this
of
is the
them.
last tournament before the World Cup.
Yes, I know that, but I feel like a lot of them look at it as we don't have to play qualify. We already have the World Cup here. We already automatically get that spot. You get what I'm saying? But I just feel like their mentality is they already checked out. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the mentality where they're coming from, because Pulisic should even have talked. I understand that he wants to get rest on that, but let the coach decide that. I don't think the player should be deciding that. You get what I'm saying? We already know that football is the new way of football now. A lot of games, a lot of tournaments. Like, look, the players them just get off a long season. They already playing the FIFA Club World Cup in
Yeah.
America. You get what I'm saying? I think this is just the new way. These players are getting a lot of money. This is a new way of football. It's messed up, but this is a new way. I think that the USA players are already checked out. They already I think they're overlooking the World Cup. I think they're overlooking. No player should be, oh, I don't want to play that one. I want to play this one. That should be on the coach.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, you finish?
Yeah, I think that they look at it as we already got to the World Cup. We don't need
Yeah.
to come in. That's
Yeah.
that's personal I think it is. Yeah.
Depay,
One thing,
how all right, go
so,
ahead, Kevin.
I mean, because just to piggyback off what he said, yeah, a lot of them are complacent and comfortable now because the mere fact say they're hosting the World Cup or whatever. But I said that to say this: injuries. This is what a lot of the players are worried about now, like Pulisic and some other players who don't want to play at this particular time. Because nothing worse is to say more than your country host a World Cup and you didn't participate in it, right? Because of injuries or anything like that.
Yeah. Depay, since the last decade of Christian Pulisic regime in the US men's national team, you have only played in one Gold Cup, one. And it was before the COVID. Yunus Musa, played 29 matches for AC Milan in the Serie A, only start 19, just over 1,500 minutes, in the league played. And he's taking personal issues of not playing for the national team. We seen a 40-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo is putting everything for the Portuguese national team. Where he's end up got a little bit of muscle injured. You think a player like Javier Chikorito Hernandez that missing so many Gold Cups and only played in one in the last decade for the Mexican national team, this would rub off wrong on the L3 fans. Is it because of lack of footballing culture for the US men's national team why you see not so much outcry from the fans, but more outcry from Landon Donovan himself?
Yeah, man. No, I think I agree with Dan, man. I think they're just confident. They're content on what they got. And I think, honestly, man, people might not like it, but I feel like they're just a bunch of spoiled brats, man. Honestly, like I think that's the way they're acting. That's the way they're acting. They're acting like they don't need to prove a point. They act like I don't need to do anything for my country. And just like you said, Cristiano Ronaldo, Chicharito, Messi, regardless if it's a friendly game against some random team, like I don't know, some team, some country that was just made up, they'll show up for their country. They got love for their country. They know that the country is more important than a club. And that's what kind of, I'm glad Donovan called them out on it, because when did we ever see a U.S. national team like a Donovan, a Dempsey, a Altidore, a Bradley, that, or Howard, whatever, that would say that would say I'm good. I'm gonna sit this one out, and then I'm gonna go play the friendly games. But I'm gonna sit out.
Yeah, but how is that though? How can you say you will play the friendlies game but not the Gold Cup? I don't
because
get it.
I think my personal opinion is I think they think they're bigger than the U.S. national team. They want to do what they want to do, and that's what irritates me, man. Because it's like I mean, first and foremost, I mean, the U.S. national team doesn't do it for me, right? I think that's what it is. You know, my personal opinion, I feel like they won everything too quickly. The Nations League, the Gold Cup, they were super young when they did it. Now they
Yeah.
feel like they don't have nothing to prove.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just think that's it, man. I don't think
But
they
you
got
know,
that country pride.
but you saw every time when the Mexican team is on their face, that's the only time they can strive. And even when you look at in the glory days of the US men's national team and the glory days of the Mexican team at one, who win the war? It is the Mexican win all the titles. You know, it's just
Yeah.
recently the US men's national team started to win a little bit of trophies in this region. You know, so I just think that Daniel and Kevin, I just think that maybe these players undermining the quality of their continental tournament, which is the Gold Cup. They're undermining, they underestimate this tournament that it's nothing. You're coming up against teams like Haiti, Saudi Arabia, and all these teams, Trinidad and Tobago. Remember, this is a team that they haven't beat Trinidad yet on Trinidad home turf. They understand Trinidad almost got something from the game that they played in Houston. I think it was a Nations League quarterfinals. You know, so I mean, it can go both ways, and I hope this Gold Cup teach this US men's national team a lesson moving forward. But what you guys think, man, Dan and Kevin, about they think these players underestimate the quality of the Gold Cup?
I don't even think they're underestimated. I think they're just being disrespectful to their own country. You know, I think you think Mexico call up any players to come represent the team. They're not turning that down. They're coming in. You get what I'm saying? Just like Jamaica, you can imagine. We beat Bailey if you know how to come play for Jamaica.
Yeah.
We beat any player. You get what I'm saying? So why we are excuse Christian police? Why Blackwood attack about injuries? Come on, injuries are part of the game, Blackwood. You get what I'm saying? So whenever let your team call you up, and then whenever you upset that spot to come play for your team, whatever happened. But these players are spoiled brats, and they disrespecting the region. You get what I'm saying? Can you imagine England call up Pulisic and him attack about him all want to play friendly? Just think about it.
Jude Bellingham played in some friendly games, and he's going to play
That's
in the
never going to happen in any of those top international team. England, Spain, Germany. You will never get back a call back.
Well, me, I said still, I'm just looking at it from his point of view, and then state what for me, what he should have done, even if he's hurting or whatever, go to camp, talk to the coach, say, Coach, I'm only feeling whatever. That's in a different message. I try to see from his point of view, saying he play over 100 games in 2 years, but it's like what you said, you have players that have been doing that. And we all know the players, especially in the US, with a lot of them, everything has been handed to them. They don't really have to work for it. So piggyback of what the point you said, because them giving so much freedom to do whatever you want. Imagine somebody, you get a call from Jamaica, you tell them, say you don't want to play against Belize, you don't want to play against Cuba, you don't want to save myself for the World Cup. No, you don't have a spot. But because them already been there and done that, and him already set a stage for himself. And then the federation, the US Federation, they're to be blamed because they're the reason why he's acting like that. So they give him that freedom, just like when Mbappe and PSG could do whatever I want because they give him that liberty to do it, But me, I look on it from both standpoints. It could be really tired for you, where he only want to play friendly and not in the goal.
Christian Pulisic injured 3 times this season. I've just finished a while ago. He injured 3 times. So so I don't know. So that's a little bit weird.
And again, that's why I say I look on it from his point and say, hey, even though they're getting paid millions, at the end of the day, they're still human beings, So
you know how much these guys get for playing World Cup qualifier games? Around 15,000 US per game. In the last time they played World Cup qualifier, they get paid around 15,000 US dollar per game.
Some change the policy then.
No, but look, if you compare that to the region, I don't think Guatemalan players get 3,000-4,000 US. So you see the big difference. You see the big difference. They get paid heavily. But when you look on the Mbappe and the Neymar, these guys get like 4,000 per game, and they give it away to charity.
Yeah.
So I mean, Depay, your last takes before we close out on the show. We touching 1 a.m. Eastern time at this moment. Your last takes and whatever you want to say.
Yeah, no, the last takes on this. I hope it's a good Gold Cup, man. I hope Mexico or US doesn't win it. I'm kind of getting bored of that.
Guatemala for the win.
Hey, hopefully, man. I can dream, man. Hey, if Guatemala wins the Gold Cup, man, I might buy a lottery ticket. I'm not even gonna lie. Maybe that's my lucky day. Nah, but overall, everything. I hope we have a good qualifier, good Gold Cup. But
Who are you supporting for the FIFA Club World Cup?
Nobody, man. My team didn't make it.
Who's the team?
Barcelona?
I love Barcelona, man. They didn't make it.
Yeah, Brian, you said you didn't make it. Blackwood, your last takes, on before we close out on the show. I think you're mute.
With everything that's going on, I really wish and I'm praying that with the political climate of the country and everything.
It's 12 o'clock.
Everything's smooth out because football is a sport supposed to bring us together, not divide us. So we can enjoy this Gold Cup. It's my first Gold Cup here. I'm trying my best to go out and see a few games, so I don't want to go out and be looking over my shoulders. I'm looking pretty puck. I have to walk with my documents, passport, cards, and everything.
That's crazy. Ain't that crazy? I think that's something that what people gonna be doing, bringing their documents. Really have to walk with the documents for real.
From flying from state to state, I'm flying with my documents, guys. It's so unpredictable right now. It's ridiculous. So, like I said, I'm praying things die down a little bit so people can feel comfortable and feel safe and happy going to these games, so we can have a successful Gold Cup. And Jamaica gonna win the Gold Cup. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I think what Kevin said is the same thing. I feel because I'm gonna watch the Jamaica. I think what's the game I'm gonna watch again? I'm definitely gonna be watching the Jamaica Guadalupe game. It's gonna be playing in San Jose, California. So I definitely gonna be checking out that game. But hopefully everything Jamaica able to get on top of the group. Hopefully in the second round, in the knockout stage, we can get a very good able to get a very good draw. You get what I'm saying? Because we really gonna hope we can don't get USA, Mexico, and Canada anywhere, maybe to the semifinal. Then you get what I'm saying. But
bring them come anytime. Bring them come.
Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna be watching, see what's Guadalupe. I want to see that Guadalupe Guatemala game. Definitely want to see what those two teams about. You get what I'm saying? Especially I don't know nothing too much about. I didn't really able to see Guatemala at the office because they just defended the whole game.
They just
defend that whole game. So I would love to.
Hopefully we see a better Guatemala team. I think it would be a better game. But Football Guru said fake news. US players get 10 to 14,000.
Why Football Guru always come when we close out? He always comes when we want to close out.
All right, so Guru, even if it's for a win, that's still a lot of money.
Let's go back with the facts,
No, I mean, look, go ahead, Blackwood, before I continue.
But look, just like what Guru said, and this is the thing where I mash up a lot of the players and what them are done so fast. Man's policy deserve arrest. For me, it may not deserve arrest, but hey, man, to play 100 games in
you know why I can't excuse policies and none of these players? Cristiano Ronaldo is 40 years old and he's still playing. He wants to play every tournament, every game. So I'm not excusing none of these players.
And everybody eat and train like Cristiano Ronaldo.
But that's the standard. You need to get to that level.
That's crazy though that they're leaving free money on the table though. I would take that money in a heartbeat. I don't care if it's 10,000, 14,000. You better give me that money. I don't care if I'm on the bench.
They're getting a lot of money from their club team already. And they have sponsorship deals, all that stuff. So they are there. They're already rich already. But
Yeah, I think the U.S. Federation is one of the probably the richest, federation over here in the CONCACAF. They have very wealthy sponsorship, TV deals, and everything. You understand? So let's see what's going to happen. But you see with this, Depay, football guru said the U.S. and the Mexican have sent weaker teams. We're not talking about weaker teams. We're talking about players quitting for a tournament. Say, hey, I'm not
Yeah.
pulling up. That's way
No.
different. And that's what
Yeah.
Daniel said. Let the coach and the selection panel, the committee panel, select who want to come. You understand? Let them select a weaker team. It's way different than pick a weaker team than you, the captain, say, "Hey, I'm not coming. My body over." That's one of the two most easiest thing to say right now is mental health and my body is tired. That's two of the most easiest thing to say in football to miss games. You understand? So it's different than not coming about some BS excuses and the national team pick a weaker team. You understand? So I mean, Depa, thanks for passing through again. On the platform, really appreciate it. Hope we can have you sometime soon in the near future to discuss more on the scheduled games for the Gold Cup. I know you said you don't discuss anything outside of Barcelona. So
I mean, I
Hala
watch. I
Madrid.
mean, I watch it. I watch it. But as long as Real Madrid keep
Hala
winning, I'm
Madrid.
cool with that. Real Madrid keep
Blackwood,
winning, I'm
who
cool with that.
I mean, I know Liverpool is not there, but I mean, who you supporting for the Club World Cup? Barcelona is not there, one of your team again.
Trent. Trent.
Honestly,
I'm
Trent,
supporting
Trent.
Trent. I'm not saying that I want Real Madrid to win, but I'm just supporting Trent. I want him to give a good display of himself.
Really, because I feel like every Liverpool fans hate Trent because the way he left and went to Real Madrid.
For me, I don't because he has him done everything already. And the reason why I say I want him, I'm cheering for him because of how the fans reacted to him. As if he's a traitor or whatever, a mercenary. But no, him play him time out, and what if the man did want to stay in Liverpool? Say, yo, we're gonna sell it, we're not sign him. So the player wants to leave, him wants to leave, and an expiring contract. So, but the mere fact that but a lot of people say Trent to leave and Liverpool can't get no big money for him. So.
Yeah, I think that's on Liverpool, the board.
So you don't think the guy obeys contract? You don't think the guy obeys contract?
You guys get him for free, and you guys let him for free, and he are able
We
to.
still get 10 million for him, but still, we get like 10 times that. But
I mean, you guys got $10 million, to release him early so he can play in the Club World Cup. So let's see what's going to happen with Trent Alexander-Arnold. But I know this is not on field. This is not on the Merseyside. This is in Spain, where they only talk about Real Madrid and Barcelona. You listen to Gareth Bale talk about the pressure of putting on the all-white jersey, the pressure of putting on the Catalonian jersey. It's just a different, complete scenario in England. We think that the press in England, is cruel. Go to Spain, you will know what is cruel.
Bale for good, because Liverpool alone is more perform.
So people, we're going to close out the show. I really appreciate everyone. See you guys sometimes tomorrow and Sunday again. Once again, big up to the pie for passing through the Guatemalan fan here. Monday is the game, right? Monday we will catch up. Monday we will see what's going on with the Reggae Boys and Guatemala. You understand? The pie, salute to you, amigo. Thanks for passing through. I understand and really appreciate it. Buenos noches. Ciao. So, Daniel, that's it, that's it with the people. So, we're closing out. You don't know, but big up everybody in the
people. Don't forget, smash a like on the video.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the channel. Football Guru, big up yourself. You always check in at the last minute. But
and probably I watch long time, but as I said, if you make a mistake,
check in.
But I mean, that's good still. You understand? But that's good.
Conflicts, man. Big up yourself, conflicts, man.
That's good. Big up everybody. Big up yourself. What kind of name is that? Conflicts, man. What?
Conflicts? Yeah, it was a lot of conflicts.
This is like you have show curtain. You know, someone say show curtain boss at match.
Well, I
Yo,
don't know what I get that name right now.
yo, yo, me see show curtain boss a match. When Jamaica play again? Choose it. Me see show curtain boss a match. Yo, to all the man late, the man make 2 steps from gate number 3 to gate number 7 in a less than 30 seconds. The boss a step. Aye. I mean, I say, yo, show curtain the boss. That's look around for me and say, son, then gone again, run off. You know, big up. You know, meet a lot of people, you know, at the stadium, you know, who watch the Nick and that, watch the Nick and that podcast and watch, you know, the morning inside and stuff like that. So big up to the fans over, you know, in Jamaica as well. I met a few people actually. They coming from Florida as well. You know, I think we're on the same flight. You know, traveling to Jamaica at the same time. They said they watch a program as well. So big up to the fans that, you know, I met, you know, on my way to Jamaica and on my way back to the US as well. I met a few people in New York as well that actually coming from the game and, you know, came up to me and said, you know, they watched the
That's good. That's good. That for sure say, yo, there's a lot of support for the Jamaica team. So many people is flying down to go watch that game. That's really good.
Bro, Jamaica is a big brand, bro. Like even the game we played in BVI, I think we have more supporters than the home team. You see that game that we're gonna play in Curacao? There's a lot of Jamaicans living in Curacao as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's got even you see the game we're gonna play at Trinidad, you're going to see the turnout.
Yeah,
you're going to see the turnout in Port of Spain as well. So bless up to the people, you know, for passing through again. But again, you know, Daniel, the Nick and Dan podcast, you know, has been recognized by a lot of people out there. You know, you know, since been traveling outside of the US and going to Jamaica and coming back, I always met people inside of the airport said, yo, they watch the show. I even met a security guard at the Norman Man International Airport.
Man, remember your face.
And he recognized me, like they call me, you know, Nick. And they said they watch the Nick and that podcast, you know. So the security guard that watch us on Sundays, you understand? He said, yo, big up yourself, you understand? And I think I met a lady and her husband. I think they said they married for the last 25 years. You know, they said, yo, big up to Daniel, you know, he's a very good co-host, you know, someone that who in tune in the game and very educated about the game as well. So big up to that couple that I met in New York who married for over 25 years. You understand? So the age gap is different. You understand? We start to see people from Africa start to tune in to the Nick and that podcast. So something is growing, you understand? But people, you know, best upon yourself, you understand? We hold best upon yourself. Yo, Conflicts, boss. That name the take the night. You understand?
Man, kick in shin.
What you say?
They make all defenders a yard soft like Conflicts in the 70s.
All right. So this seems like he's a man that could be, you know, pops. Seems like he's an elderly guy. Yeah. You know, understand? But yeah, people, you know, I'm out.